You a picture? Okay, let's go. He's got his big stick. You better move. Picture? Who's the picture? Yeah. Better than sign.
But
Ralph Dodge wants to meet you.
Hmm?
Ralph Dodge wants to see you.
Over here, someone. Come on, get down here on their knees here. That's it.
That's Cleo Noah. And Mr. Noah.
No, three
And
different
Brooke
groups.
Tripp's wife.
Otherwise, you had too big groups. That way they are
All the way down.
every time.
Finally, you have to get all the people that
Okay.
Fred Bransell.
Okay.
Ready, everybody ready?
Ralph Dodge. Peggy Dodge. Lynn Blackburn. Kelly Blackburn.
Wait a minute,
More photographers than subjects. Smile photographers.
Okay, now next to the next group. All right, next group. Next group. Want me to take your picture?
Organizer. Sean.
Next group. You all have to get in there. Come on down, get over there.
Marion, we'll go in this one. Want to go in this one?
Shreya.
Don't do it. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Warren. Jackson.
I don't know how in the world he's going to do this. Second group.
Golden.
Third group then. Cross it together. Somebody put this hole in here.
Brooke Tripp.
Okay. All right, this is the second group. Wait, when we do this? Wait for the third group.
Now you getting it, Lloyd.
Wait for the third group.
We're going to take my picture of that sticking her
Everybody happy? Everybody stay improved? Okay.
Hey, Lloyd, you don't have it with the camera. Stand still.
Wait a minute. Okay, everybody. Okay, we're all shutting down. Now the third group. The third group. Ready? Okay, Scarritt graduates.
Of course, she was my roommate. Yeah. We wouldn't have gotten through.
Scarritt graduates. Where are the Scarritt graduates?
They don't have to be graduates, just so they went to Scarritt.
Scarritt. Scarritt students.
Anybody that went to Scarritt, anybody that went to Scarritt.
All the Scarritt brats, get in here.
My son went to Scarritt.
Don't tell me you went to Scarritt. Works in the
I
kitchen.
have two kinds.
That's where you.
Oh my goodness. My grandchild.
This is Dr. Collard. Shreya. Lee Master.
Well, let me tell you funny. You can't believe that I lived over. I said something about our Rose one time in Angola. He said, I'm not your Rose, I'm Rose Thomas.
Coming to Angola just changed my whole life. And so we let our kids go anywhere they want to. The first one chose Clark University in Worcester, Massachusetts. And the second one chose Harvard. And the third one chose Hampton University in Virginia. And the last one chose Georgetown. You know, so those are all big schools. And today, financial aid isn't like it used to be. One son at Harvard went out and got a scholarship of $3,700 from State Farm. But you know that Harvard took his financial aid from him. Wouldn't even allow him to
person in his own country, you want to praise the land you live in. And late in the 60s, he got in trouble for writing that song with the PD. PD is the secret police of the Portuguese. And for that reason, he was called in and he was questioned, why did you write that song? Talks about the mountains, talk about the rivers are beautiful. And the fact that he was called by the police, he was practically politically in trouble.
You going to translate the song for us too,
The verse simply say, Angola is beautiful. The mountains, the Pongwandongo stones are beautiful. And the Kwanza River, and there is gold. Angola is rich.
Angola ishi yetu, Angola ishi yetu, Yawaba. Mataja Pongwandongo, Madireka, Okutunika Suera, Madiwanu. Angola ishi yetu, Angola ishi yetu, Yawaba. Wene mala diamande ni maulu oyidima yo soirana jambote. Angola ishi yetu, Angola ishi yetu, Yawaba. Angola
speakers. I guess he's going to put the cap on. And now we're looking forward to hearing you, Larry. Oh, I thought he'd escaped.
Wishful thinking.
No, not at all.
As you all know, I have 14 plus seconds, and I'm counting heavily on that plus. They asked me to say something about the church south of Eden, and I'm going to have to go quickly, and I hope that if you have real questions, if you really want to know what's going on down there, we'll leave that till the question department. There are several
As thou hast been,
made something beautiful of my life. Something beautiful, something good. All my confusion, he understood. All I had to offer him was brokenness and strife. But he made something beautiful, beautiful all my life. But he made something beautiful, beautiful all my life. You started. For he made something beautiful, beautiful all my
No, we don't want you to.
I want you to know we're in trouble because we came here. We're having the Shine reunion tomorrow out in Oregon. Oh, do we get our ears pulled? We have it every year, the third Sunday in July.
Well, what's that called? That's hard.
Oh, the most important one.
Well, the thing is, I didn't think you understood who the Shod children all are, who their son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws are, and I just thought you ought to know. Push over that way a little bit. How do you get in the family?
Come on, keep your hat on.
Push right on over. Right on over. Give some room. Now, do you understand who really makes up the Bransell family? Remember that there are 9 children in that family and not the 5 that we knew. Will all the Bransells come? And these are kind of interwoven here. That's why Fred, he's standing up here for his daughter. So to be sure that you understand they are mingled into the Shod family.
Our condolences.
In the family that we know as the Bransell family, you will see such as parts of the Eklund family who came into the other Bransells. And by the way, I understand in that union they brought together not only 9 children, but 2 Garys. Was that right?
2 Dans.
2 Dans into the same family. We've never learned which Dan knew when he was getting the right directions. Okay? Now. Gets it at Scarritt Center what it's for. Put on your check what it's for. You would get it.
Ed,
Yes.
do you know whether and how much of the gathering that it covers?
Does anybody know that? I sure don't.
Friday, wasn't it?
Just Friday night,
Friday night.
or Saturday morning?
Well, Saturday. He says there are 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I guess we just take a chance. If anybody gets it and thinks that other people ought to have it, you might give us a call. I want to get one for special use. If I have anything to do with the next gathering, I'd sure like to be able to review what my wife did. I believe that I've had a conversion this morning. And I believe that I believe I can go on wherever I'm going when you folks don't see me anymore, believing in the future of Angola and the people of Angola. I believe in what Larry said about the 3rd phase of evangelism in Angola. And I found it easy to identify with it because in southeastern Kentucky, we're now planning for our 3rd year of what is known as Appalachian Pastor School. Started out with the name Appalachian Lay Pastor and still goes under that name, but whatever happens at the next board meeting, it will be at least Appalachian Pastor School. And this is the beginning. In fact, there are some missionaries working in that area says, won't we need missionaries in southeastern Kentucky after this pastor school comes in and works with lay people and local pastors on congregational development with an emphasis on enculturation, with an emphasis on evangelism, remembering our heritage. There's even some thoughts that makes people kind of fearful. And I brought along little brochures so to pass along to everybody, and I missed one of the persons that I meant to give it to and don't remember who it was. I do have one left if anybody's interested, but that's why I wasn't able this morning to identify so comfortably with what Larry's saying. We planted the seed in our time, and somebody else will harvest. The way they save the seed or pass the seed on may have another little flavor, just like some of those songs that used to be taught in Keswick, and you went to the village and they were singing the very same songs, not like we sang them, and some different words that were shocking to us. So the church goes on. Get started to hugging and kissing now, and it's lunchtime.
I thought we were going to do some sharing.
Well, you have just a few minutes until 12. And you want
Okay. I don't have any, but I'm waiting to hear something.
I have the registration list to share. It is here. If you'd raise your hands, those who did not get one.
That is Tony Angolans. Two reasons. Because it's a treasure and also his name is difficult. Drown the Piso, that's his common name in Angola.
Let me tell you something about him and his name, man.
Yes, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking that you were feeling pressed for time. I'm sorry that I misread. Go ahead.
Ruth and John, did their courtship by correspondence, and I was living with Ruth at the time. What? Just tell stories. Can I tell you? May I? With your permission?
Holy sense.
I was living in the house with Ruth while they did their courting by mail, and I knew John's brother, so I taught Ruth how to say his last name. Well, lo and behold, finally John sent a tape and told her how to pronounce his last name, and he and his brother disagreed. When he did propose by mail, she yelled into me, I don't know whether she ever told him this or not, but she told me, oh, he proposed. A few minutes later she said, I'm not supposed to tell. And so then she went on to say that her parents were coming soon and he would send a ring by them and we would have an announcement party announcing her engagement. So I kept it a secret with her. Those of you know me very well, that was a hard thing to do.
She kept silent.
You kept it perfectly. I remember the shock we had with that.
So we had a big party when her parents came and announced her engagement, and they were married about 2 weeks after you arrived home, right?
We were at the wedding.
Those two girls were living in the house together there. And being a horticulturist on the station, I thought I'd give a little bit of advice. I walked in there. They had two pawpaw trees, both males. I said, girls, why do you keep those two males? There are no females around. They won't produce. Don't you touch our males.
Open mic here. I've
been a very silent participant at this session here, and I just wanted to say something at the end. My parents were in ministry in Angola, and most of you have been in ministry there. I just grew up there, and I thought you might be interested in hearing some of my responses to what you've all been through. I must say that I can understand your shock at coming to Angola, because boy, when I came to America, was that a shock. I grew up until I was 10. We left Angola in 1936. It was during the Depression, and there had been no new missionaries for a long time. We were supposed to wait until Ed and Laddie Edling got back from their furlough so that we could come back to the States. My father has a picture that some of you may have seen of himself in a chair with 13 women, his 4 daughters, his wife, and the rest of the women on the mission, all standing around handing him things. He was not only the doctor and ran the shops and the schools and the agricultural work, he was the district superintendent, and during the dry season we would go out to the villages, and after he preached and did the district superintendent work, he would do what Dr. Colbert showed us. He would just lower the tailgate and dispense medicine and pull teeth with sometimes car pliers or whatever was available. And it's kind of a shock to me after seeing when they went back in 37 and these young missionary families started coming out, and he was excited with all the energy and enthusiasm they brought, and my gosh, when I see you here, you're just as old as I am. I wanted to share a little about my parents. My dad, those of you that know him, knew he was quite cut up when he could be. He said it was his way of blowing off steam and stress. And I can remember my mother saying, he'd do something funny and she'd say, "Oh, Alex." That's her only total response. But he did like to play tricks on people or do funny things. I remember when they went to a party, they exchanged clothes. I don't know which one of them thought that up, but it really surprised us kids to find out what they'd done. We were due to go back in 1936, and word came that my mother's mother had a bad case of cancer, and we were to try, she was going to go back to the United States and take us girls, and then my dad would come later after the Edlings would reach Angola. So in this rush to get us all ready, each one of the WFM messers, that's what we called it. There were the messers. Okay. It's nice to talk to people that know the same language. Each one of them adopted one of us and gave to get us clothes for the trip. And Ingle Johnson took me on and tried to provide a few outfits that would be decent for us to go back to the States. We got on the train and got down to Luanda and went to do the official business, the visas, I suppose, or whatever it was. And I think it was the American consul. My sisters will correct me later for not saying the right thing. But someone took my dad aside and said, "We have just sent a telegram up country to you saying that your mother's mother has died. You may want to reconsider this trip." So that was what we did. We went back up. Well, taking the train back up to Melange, the people from the mission were going to come and meet us at the station. And my dad, we all would go to the windows and look out as we pulled into the station. And my dad said, "Get down low, duck down," to us kids. What he wanted to do was pull this little joke that the wire had not gotten back down to Luanda in time, and that my mother and we kids had gone on the train. And we couldn't pull it off. We kids wanted to pop up and see what was going on. But he just, in a serious situation like that, he still wanted to get some humor into it. He also, Marie Nelson was his nurse, and she lived up at the WFMS house and would drive down to the hospital. And she had an old Model T, no windows or anything, but the fabric was beginning to get a little worn. And it got so 2 pieces of fabric were broken loose, and as you drove down, the wind would pull them out the back end. And my dad swore Nita Nelson was driving down the road with her legs hanging out. My mother taught us in the morning at home in the room, you all know the Kemp house or whatever you call it. One room downstairs before the house was divided was the schoolroom, and Winnie and I would have our classes there, and Sam was a little younger. She would be in the next room, and often when my mother would open the door, she wasn't there. And she just was an outdoors person like her dad. She would go out and be outdoors around the facility. Winnie and I went to the Escalahoos to, is that for third and fourth grade, is that Segunda Grau or Primera Grau? Primera. And Manuela Brigada was my teacher in third grade, and Chico Webba in fourth grade. And we went for the exams. Well, I wasn't old enough to be legally taking them, so they had to get special dispensation. And Sr. Teixeira was very amused at this. And when we went for the finals, he got me up at the board trying to answer capitals of countries. And when he came to the United States, I said, well, Washington. Oh, no, Nova York. No, it's Washington. I guess that didn't go down very well. I only passed with, Kinsey Valores. Anyway. Well, let's see. Oh, we did go up to take embroidery classes at Escola Henda, and I can remember being told, I didn't want to use a thimble, and I can remember I was just told, I was made a joke of in front of all these girls who did this beautiful embroidery because I wouldn't use a thimble. Then I can remember one day, Florinda Bessa lived next to the Bible school. She had just had her house whitewashed. It was just immaculate. And I think Winnie was the one that was with me. And here was this beautiful surface. It looked like a freshly painted blackboard after the termites had eaten part of it off. You know, it was this great surface to use. So there was the little charcoal fire out there with some sticks there, blackened charcoal sticks, and I was drawing pictures on this. I was so proud, and I went around to show Miss Florinda what beautiful pictures we had drawn. I couldn't understand her great emotion. And she said, I didn't think they were that bad. I had my teleprompter here. I was lay awake last night. I'm still on Pacific time. I lay awake last night jotting down a few things. Oh, celebrations. You were showing about some Christmas things. Every Christmas my dad would make a new set of fly swatters. Just cut the screen and put it on a handle. And our job was to sew the tape, bias tape all around those edges. Such trickery thing, Portuguese cooking. But we would get ice for ice cream. And the only other time we got ice cream was when there was a hailstorm. Just as we left, I think there was an ice plant in Melange. But we had no icy bowl, no electricity. I think when my dad went back after he left us in the States, I think he took out a wind charger and they had a radio. But boy, we lived a simple, good life there. It was a good place to grow up. We loved the chameleons. They're not only interesting here, but I guess the Africans are very superstitious about them. And we would get a chameleon on our hand, and we'd walk up to some of our African friends and pull this out. One day we put some in a box, and a container we were going to watch, keep them for a while. The next morning we came in and there was a little one. Well, that was exciting. We thought they laid eggs and would hatch from that. And my dad did some research. And, oh, yeah, there are a few chameleons that have their live young. We found out that the cook had found a little chameleon. I don't know how he got the courage to carry it. Another thing that was fun was when the strawberries came due. Did the locusts come back? they were there, probably about 1935, this great plague of locusts. I felt very biblical. I knew what the plague of locusts was like. These clouds would come in, and then the locusts would settle out on all the trees, and they not only ate all the leaves, but even the bark off the citrus and I guess papaya, guava. We had no fruit for a while, except the strawberries that started bearing. And we all got very tired of strawberries all the time. Well, I just really treasured my growing up. I think it was a wonderful place and a lovely atmosphere in which to grow up. I do remember when we got old enough to go to the Sunday evening prayer meetings, which would be around at the different homes, and we thought we were so grown up we could go. And I can remember more than once when prayer time was over, we would get around and kneel on our chair. And, I wouldn't get up, I'd be asleep. I remember that sometimes during the long prayers. Well, thank you for sharing all you have with us. I'm very much reconnected to the Angola ministry. It's been so hard over the years to find out what's been going on. Now we see news in the paper, it isn't always what we want to see, but it's been wonderful to be here these 3 days and share with you something that's always been very close to my heart and be part of my growing up. And I'm with you in your prayers and your concerns for Angola. Thank you.
And we took all the wood with Lloyd Figueiredo. We took the woods down to the barrocas, and then we say, since it's too late, let's go home first and eat. And then when we come back and let's build the house in the barrocas. How do you say barrocas in English?
Gullies, ditches in the gullies.
Yes. And there was a big one in the mission, in the Methodist mission in Rwanda. So we went home. When you came back, for our surprise, all the wood was gone. This is a big opportunity for me because I always were in touch with some of the people. I wrote a few letters, and before I came, I went to the Angolan mission. I said, you have a list of people, a number of people who are educated in the mission, in the Methodist mission. Begin with the ambassador's wife. There is a daughter of Mr. Reverend Guilherme English. And there was also Sebastião Neto, that was a son of Manuel Sebastião, that was in Kweswa. Geronimo, my brother, was educated in the Angolan mission in Rwanda. There was also Cristiano, that was a son of Joaquim Cristiano. Apolinario also. They all educated in the mission. So they were supposed to send one person here, but for some reason there was a big delegation and they could not come. So they told me, Lloyd, you go and give our regards to them. We recognize that the missionaries did a very good job in educating many of our leaders. And I'll give you the money for transportation to come all the way here to this reunion. So I was really very thankful, and I talked to some Angolans in Philadelphia, and two was ready to come with us, Danielle and Moigo. Yeah, Danielle and Moigo. So we came, and we are certainly very much, and now we have to remember the name, Henrietta Bailey. Everybody asks about Henrietta. I couldn't say anything about Henrietta. I didn't know anything. It was through that meeting that I knew Henrietta was around and came. Eva Albertina, everybody asked Albertina, everybody writes letters, she never answered the letter, I told her. She never answered the letter, I told her husband that everybody was asking about Albertina. Then today I saw Sue Bennett. I remember Sue Bennett, everybody remember Sue Bennett in those days? Yeah. And she not tell me. And I said, Sue Bennett, Ellen. Yeah, Ellen. And she said, no, let me take my glasses now, you're going to recognize me. And it was Ellen Bennett. So many people in Angola, when I go to Angola, they tell me names, all the names, so I cannot keep up. I said, I can't keep up, but they go in the meeting, they're going to find everybody. And I didn't get the card that I promised, but I have the list. Sr. Branson tem a lista. Excuse me when sometimes I put Portuguese. Because someone, Albertina's husband was telling me, only when you spoke Portuguese I couldn't understand. So, Sr. Master tem a lista. He has the list of the name that he's going to send to me, and I'm going to send to my father because he's very much interested in knowing. One thing with Reverend Bishop Dodge, when he was we were in the mission, we used to eat, he used to go and see this a tree with white flowers. I don't know the name of them. We used to call picaflor. But picaflor is the bird. It's a big flower, a big tree with little white flowers in the mission. And Bishop Dodge sent somebody to pick up some little beans, some little plants. And somebody was collecting those beans, but we don't know why they want those beans. Then later on we found out that they would boil them and put some butter and eat as a vegetable. So everybody. So one day my father said, well, maybe you should try to. So then we went to the tree and started taking the little fresh ones, parts, look like little beans. And then we cook it and put some butter and everything. And we found out it was a good thing to eat. Then somebody said that Bishop Dodge eats tomato cru, cenoura crua. Like it was something, I said, so see, also Bishop Dodge went to Uganda and started eating tomato cru, raw tomatoes. And those days, probably something that people don't do too much, tomato cru from the garden, and red carrots, raw carrots. Yeah. Of course, these are a lot of things that you remember from. And the one thing I want to mention also that I saw in a report, I don't know if anybody knows, in which the president of Angola, Eduardo Sanchez, was in Washington, D.C. And he mentioned for the first time, a lot of times we talk about the mission that they never really say when they were in power. But later on, in his report, in one of his speeches at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., I think, he said that the work of the missionaries, and he mentioned the names of Reverend Bishop Dodge, Reverend Henderson, and I think Reverend Charles. And I think that was a good thing that they mentioned. I told about the letter to him. I said, that was a good thing. The first time I heard you mention the work of the mission. And this is very, very, very important. And the reason why I brought my children is that I want them to be peacemakers. I want them to know about missionary work. I want them to know more about Angola and the people who gave their lives to the service of Christ to help the people of Angola. I want my kids to come over here and take along with them something good, something beautiful that is going to enrich our lives and the lives of our loved ones. We are family. We are brothers and sisters. We have a great thing to offer to Angola and to humanity.
You and John can come up and go fishing with salmon. Just leave all the salmon you catch at my house. We're starting making plans now. Yeah. We'll see you before too long. Thanks again. Thank you for inviting. So it's 100 miles.